Good afternoon, everyone. Mario Quintero here with the One Stop Shop. This week's Facebook live show, produced by marioshomenews.com. It's good to be here, and today we're going to have a little fun, even though it's serious stuff. Hopefully, we can all learn something from the order of things that I'm going to go over today, and why it's important to always stay on top of the transaction, especially if you have a realtor yourself, whatever's going on, every way possible that the transaction is taking place, we need to stay on top of it. So, you have a standard contract, it's executed by all the parties, and at that time, when we look at the contract, we notice that there are 10 sellers instead of the one seller that is on the public records. And all of a sudden we find out that there was a probate that took place, and there are 10 sellers, and they don't want to have one representative for the 10 sellers, so everything that has to be signed by all 10 people every time we get something done. So that went pretty smooth, and then we got to the inspection period. And the inspection went well. We had no major issues, and we moved forward to the loan process. And the buyer that we were representing was using their own lender, which was a personal friend, which was fine. The guy was very good. He was on top of everything, and everything was good. The appraisal was done, and our buyer was on the way to hopefully close within 30 days, which is what we were estimating. And then all of a sudden, the first major turbulence occurs when the title company runs the title work. All of a sudden, all these liens and stuff pop up. So what happens is that 3 of the 10 sellers, one was in a bankruptcy, and 2 had liens on their personals, which tie into the house that they had inherited. So now we got a problem. We got to resolve 2 liens, and we got to get the bankruptcy dismissed in order for us to be able to have clear title and be able to close. So next thing you know, you got attorneys arguing with each other regarding the bankruptcy, and they only want to give a certain amount of clearance, and the title company has to accept a complete resolution of the bankruptcy, and then they have to negotiate a payoff that one of the sellers owes on one of the liens. So in order for us to be able to close, so that took about 30 to 45 days, and we got hit with the holidays and people leaving on vacation, not being able to get all the 10 sellers together to sign some addendums. So it was a little bit frustrating for everyone involved, but we got through that. And the point I'm trying to make here is that you never know where that turbulence is going to come from. It just pops up. You can't anticipate these things, especially until the title company runs all their reports, their lien searches, the initial title policy that the underwriter has to take a look for. So these are all things that we react to and try to resolve as the process moves forward. And the thing is that experience on how to deal with these things is very important, and that's why a lot of times we see these app companies that do these representations online, and even a for sale by owner situation where the parties really don't know the legalities of what's going on. They think they just sign a contract and close the deal. So one of the things that we had while we were taking care of these situations was we eventually got into the final walkthrough. And during the final walkthrough, even though I had been in communications with the realtor representing the sellers, the realtor kind of dropped the ball and had not done what is called an estoppel letter determining the security deposits and the rent that had been paid by the tenants that were living in one of the units of this multifamily unit. So, she hustled and everything, and I said to her, I said, listen, at closing, you're going to need to bring this money in a cashier's check or a money order, because my buyer is anticipating getting this money at closing, and it was too late to include it in the closing documents. That would have blown up the loan and everything else, and we would have had further delays. So once again, staying on top of these things, knowing what is needed to get to close, protecting the buyer's interest in this case to ensure that they were getting the right amount of money at closing, plus a credit on their closing documents of an additional $2,000, which was negotiated during the process, was actually left out. It was put back in while we were waiting for the closing documents, and then we're sitting there waiting to sign, and next thing we know, the lender doesn't want to